Your kids are too noisy. Get them out of here. Amanda's voice cut through the cheerful atmosphere of the family BBQ like a knife. They're ruining everything, as usual. I stood frozen, watching my sister-in-law's face contorted with rage as she pointed at my twins, Lucy and Jack, playing tag with their cousins in the backyard. My name is Olivia, and at 34, I never thought I'd be publicly humiliated at a family gathering by the woman who'd once been my bridesmaid. Amanda, they're just playing, I said calmly, though my heart was racing. All the kids are running around, not just mine. No, she snapped, her perfectly manicured finger jabbing in my direction. Your kids are always the problem. They're wild and undisciplined. This is supposed to be a sophisticated family gathering, not a circus. The other guests have fallen silent, their paper plates of half-eaten burgers forgotten as they watched the scene unfold. My husband Tom, Amanda's brother, was inside getting drinks and had missed the start of his sister's latest tirade. Your precious twins have been nothing but trouble since they were born, Amanda continued, her voice dripping with disdain. Always crying, always making noise. Now look at them, running around like animals. I glanced at my 6-year-olds who had stopped playing and were now huddled together, confusion and hurt evident on their tiny faces. Lucy's lower lip trembled while Jack wrapped a protective arm around his sister. The sight broke my heart. That's enough, I said firmly, moving toward my children. They're kids being kids. If you can't handle fat. You're right, I can't handle it. Amanda interrupted, her face flushed. This is my house, my BBQ, and I want you and your unruly children out. Now, my mother-in-law Margaret, who'd been hovering nearby, finally spoke up. Amanda, dear, don't you think you're overreacting? They're just. Don't start, Mom. Amanda cut her off. You always defend them. But this is my house, my rules, and I say they need to leave. I felt a familiar knot form in my stomach. This wasn't the first time Amanda had targeted my children, but it was the first time she'd done it so publicly. Ever since Tom and I had announced my pregnancy with the twins, she'd made it clear she thought we were ruining the family's image. According to her, one child was acceptable, but twins were excessive and attention-seeking. Tom emerged from the house, carrying drinks, immediately sensed the tension. What's going on? Your sister is kicking us out, I said quietly, gathering my children close. Our presence is ruining her sophisticated BBQ. Amanda, what the hell? Tom started, but I touched his arm. Don't, I whispered. Let's just go. As we gathered our things, Amanda stood triumphantly by the grill, a smug smile on her lips. Oh, and by the way, she called out as we headed toward the gate. This might be a good time to tell you that children aren't welcome at my wedding next month. I want it to be perfect, and we all know that's impossible with your two around. I felt Tom stiffen beside me, but I kept walking. The twins were too quiet now, and I could feel their little hands gripping mine tightly. As we reached our car, I heard Margaret's voice raised in an argument with Amanda, but I didn't turn back. The drive home was silent except for Lucy's occasional sniffles. Tom's knuckles were white on the steering wheel, and I could practically hear him grinding his teeth. Finally, Jack spoke up from the backseat. Mommy, why does Aunt Amanda hate us? The question hung in the air like a heavy cloud. I turned in my seat to face my children, forcing a smile. She doesn't hate you, sweetie. Some people don't know how to handle the joy and energy children bring. But we were just playing, Lucy protested, wiping her eyes. Like Cousin Emma and Cousin Ben. They were running too. I know, baby, I sighed. I know. Later that night, after putting the twins to bed with extra hugs and stories, I sat on our patio scrolling through my phone. A text from Margaret popped up. I'm so sorry about today. Amanda was completely out of line. Please don't let this affect your relationship with the family. As I stared at the message, another notification appeared. A wedding planning email Amanda had sent to the entire family. In the elegant script, it was a reminder about her adults-only ceremony and reception, followed by a pointed note about maintaining the sophisticated atmosphere of the celebration. I showed the email to Tom, who had been unusually quiet since we got home. He read it, then tossed his phone onto the cushions with a frustrated grunt. She's gone too far this time. Live first, the BBQ. Are we now explicitly banning our kids from her wedding? They're her only niece and nephew. I nodded, my mind already working. You know what's interesting? I said slowly. Amanda's perfect wedding is being held at the country club where I used to work during college. The same country club where I helped plan and coordinate over 50 weddings. Tom looked at me, a glimmer of understanding crossing his face. The country club where you still have friends in management? Exactly, I replied, picking up my phone. And you know what else? Remember that gorgeous designer wedding dress she's been bragging about? The one she got for a steal from that boutique going out of business. Yeah, what about it? I smiled, opening my contacts list. Well, let's just say I know something about that dress that Amanda doesn't. And in exactly 1 month, she will learn why it's never wise to mess with a mother protecting her cubs. As I dialed a familiar number, I thought about my twins sleeping upstairs, their hearts hurt by their aunt's cruelty. Amanda wanted a perfect wedding. She was about to learn that perfection comes at a price, and karma has a way of collecting its debts with interest. The phone rang twice before a friendly voice answered. Hello, Claire. It's Olivia. Remember that favor you owe me? I think it's time to cash it in. The next few weeks passed in a blur of wedding preparations, not mine to make, of course. But I watched from the sidelines as Amanda's social media exploded with updates about her perfect day. Every post was a reminder of her cruelty toward my children, who still occasionally asked why they couldn't attend their aunt's wedding. She posted, I'm getting coffee with my wonderful wedding planner. One morning, everything must be perfect. I smiled at my phone, knowing what she didn't. My old friend Claire, now the events director at the country club, had been keeping me updated on Amanda's increasingly demanding behavior. The staff had started calling her Hurricane Amanda behind her back. You won't believe what your SIL did today, Claire texted me. She made 3 servers cry during the menu tasting and demanded we replace all our chair covers because they're not the right shade of ivory. I was in the middle of responding when my mother-in-law called. Olivia, Margaret's voice was tired. I need to talk to you about Amanda's wedding. What's wrong, Margaret? She paused, searching for words. She's becoming impossible. She screamed at the florist yesterday because the sample roses were too pink. The poor woman quit on the spot. I made a sympathetic noise, though internally I wasn't surprised. That sounds stressful. But that's not why I'm calling, Margaret continued. She's been telling everyone you declined to attend because you're jealous of her perfect wedding. She's painting you as the villain, dear. I gripped my phone tighter. What exactly is she saying? That you're bitter because your wedding was small and simple, while hers is going to be the event of the season. She's even suggesting you tried to sabotage her by talking to your old contacts at the country club. If only she knew. Don't worry about me, Margaret, I said calmly. Everything will work out exactly as it should. 2 weeks before the wedding, my plans started falling into place. Claire called to confirm that everything was arranged. The timeline you requested is set, she said, barely containing her excitement. And you'll never believe what we discovered about that designer dress she's been bragging about. I listened, a slow smile spreading across my face. Are you sure? Positive. We have the proof ready to go. Amanda hosted a rehearsal dinner at the country club the day before the wedding. Tom attended alone while I stayed home with the twins. When he returned, his expression was dark. She spent the whole evening bragging about how perfect tomorrow will be, he said, loosening his tie. She even made a toast about how some people couldn't handle her level of sophistication, looking right at my empty seat next to her. I patted his hand. Just wait until tomorrow, honey. What exactly are you planning, Liv? Let's just say Amanda's perfect day is going to be memorable for everyone. I replied, checking my phone as another text from Claire came through. Very memorable indeed. The morning of the wedding arrived bright and clear. I dressed carefully in the outfit I'd chosen weeks ago, a sophisticated cream pantsuit I knew would photograph beautifully. As I applied my makeup, I thought about Amanda's last text to the family group chat. Can't wait for everyone to witness the most perfect wedding they've ever seen. Well, almost everyone. Tom kissed me goodbye and headed to the country club early for photos. Are you sure you don't want me in on whatever you plan? I smiled, straightening his tie. Trust me, honey. You'll want plausible deniability for this one. After he left, I called Claire. Is everything ready? All set, she confirmed. The package arrived this morning. Security has been briefed, and the photographer is in position. Though I still can't believe what you discovered about. Perfect. I cut her off, checking the time. I'll see you in a few hours. I spent the morning with my twins, taking them to their favorite park and then to lunch with my parents, who were also excluded from the wedding for daring to criticize Amanda's treatment of their grandchildren. At exactly 2:30 p.m., I received the text I'd been waiting for. "Showtime," Claire wrote. "You won't believe what just happened with the dress." I gathered my things, kissed my children goodbye, and headed to the country club. Amanda's perfect wedding was about to become unforgettable, but not for the reasons she planned. As I pulled into the parking lot, I could hear the commotion from inside. Claire met me at the side entrance, her eyes dancing with barely suppressed glee. "You're just in time," she whispered. "Hurricane Amanda is about to meet her match." I straightened my shoulders and walked toward the bridal suite, where my sister-in-law's shrill voice reached new octaves of panic. The perfect wedding she'd been bragging about was about to become a public lesson in karma, and I had a front-row seat to the show. "Someone get my brother's wife on the phone." Amanda's voice screeched from behind the door. "She's behind this. She has to be." I smoothed my pantsuit and checked my lipstick in a nearby mirror. It was time to make my entrance, and I intended to look flawless for the photos I knew would be taken. After all, some moments deserve to be perfectly preserved. The scene that greeted me in the bridal suite was pure chaos. Amanda stood in the middle of the room, her perfect wedding dress now sporting a very noticeable designer label, one that clearly showed it was a knockoff of the original she'd been bragging about. Not just any knockoff, but one that had been reported stolen from a boutique 2 states over. "This is impossible," she shrieked, mascara running down her face. "I bought this from a legitimate boutique that mysteriously went out of business the next day," I said from the doorway, making everyone turn. "How convenient." Amanda's face went from red to white in seconds. What did you do?" "Me? Nothing. However, it seems the country club has a strict policy about stolen merchandise on its premises. Something about their insurance liability." I glanced at Claire, who nodded professionally. "I'm afraid we'll have to contact the authorities," Claire said, holding up a tablet showing the police report about the stolen dress. "It's standard procedure." Margaret stepped forward, looking between us. "Amanda, is this true? Did you know the dress was stolen?" "Of course not," Amanda protested, but her voice wavered. "I got it at a discount because the seller needed to get rid of it quickly. I finished for her, before anyone realized it was part of a stolen shipment." The room fell silent except for Amanda's ragged breathing. The perfect wedding she planned was unraveling faster than the cheap stitching on her counterfeit dress. "You planned this," she hissed at me. "You ruined my wedding because I wouldn't let your bratty kids attend." I shook my head. "No, Amanda, you ruined your wedding. I just made sure the truth came out." And speaking of truth, I nodded to Claire, who pulled up security footage on her tablet. The video showed Amanda in the country club's storage room last week, deliberately damaging another bride's decorations, a bride whose wedding was scheduled for the following weekend. "You see," I explained calmly, "when you started badmouthing me to the staff here, they began paying close attention to your activities. Funny how karma works, isn't it?" The police arrived discreetly as requested. They needed to document the stolen dress and make statements about the vandalism. Amanda's perfect wedding dissolved into a public display of her true colors. "You can't do this to me," she screamed as the officers led her away for questioning. "This was supposed to be my perfect day." Tom appeared in the doorway, having heard the commotion. He took in the scene, his sister being escorted out, our mother in tears, and me standing calmly in the middle. "Liv?" he questioned softly. "Your sister made a choice," I said, taking his hand. "Several choices, starting with how she treated our children." Later that evening, as the guests departed and the country club staff cleared the untouched reception decorations, Margaret approached me. "I should have stopped her behavior years ago," she admitted. "The way she treated the twins, I was so worried about keeping the peace that I let her become a monster." I hugged my mother-in-law. It's never too late to start over. The following weekend, we hosted a family barbecue at our house. The twins ran and played freely, their laughter filling the air without fear of judgment. Even Margaret joined their games, looking younger and happier than she had in years. Tom wrapped his arm around me as we watched our real family enjoy the afternoon. "You know," he said, "this is pretty perfect." I smiled, thinking of Amanda facing charges for receiving stolen property and vandalism. She learned that true perfection isn't about appearances or sophisticated events. It's about love, acceptance, and karma served at precisely the right temperature. Yes, I agreed, watching Lucy and Jack chase their grandmother around the yard. This is exactly perfect. As for Amanda, last I heard, she was planning a much smaller wedding. After her court date, of course. I sent her a card with a simple message. Some things are worth more than perfection. Like family. Love, Olivia. I included a photo of our barbecue, showing the twins in joyful, noisy glory. After all, some lessons are best taught with a smile.